Because of why I search the deep through endless nights, no time to sleep. The call inside I can't deny. I'll find the light because of why.
Hey everyone, and welcome. You've probably heard Switzerland called the playground of Europe at some point, and you might have thought, where did that come from? Well, you're in the right place, because today we're digging into the story behind that famous nickname. So let's get right to it. Why this name? For a country famous for, precision watches, banking, and amazing chocolate, playground seems a little out there. It's a great question, and the answer is surprisingly straightforward. But the story behind it? That's where things get really interesting. And boom, there it is. The nickname literally comes from the title of a book, The Playground of Europe, published way back in 1871. It was written by a British guy named Leslie Stephen. But he wasn't just some random author. He was right at the heart of a movement that completely changed how we see the Alps. Okay, so who was this Leslie Stephen, the man who basically branded a whole country? To really get why the name stuck, we've got to get to know the man and the incredible time he lived in. This guy, Leslie Stephen, was a total trailblazer during what's now called the golden age of mountaineering. We're talking about being the first to the top of massive peaks like the Schreckhorn. He and his fellow British adventurers saw the Alps not as this scary, impassable wall, but as this amazing vertical stadium for sport and adventure. And you really get a feel for his personality from his writing. He was super witty and didn't take himself too seriously. In this quote, he's basically saying, hey, don't call us the heroes. The real heroes were the local guides. He jokes that the hardest part of their job was dragging him, the employer, and his gear up the mountain. It just perfectly captures that humble, adventurous vibe of the early days. Now, a book like this doesn't just pop up out of thin air, right? It was really the grand finale of this growing obsession the British had with the Alps. They were kind of discovering them as the ultimate adventure getaway. And you can see exactly how it all built up. It started with the Grand Tour in the 1700s, where rich young guys would just pass through. Then, poets like Lord Byron made the mountains sound incredibly epic and romantic. That inspiration led to action. The first Alpine Club was founded in London. Then came the accidental invention of winter holidays, all leading up to Stephen's book, which just bottled up that whole spirit perfectly. And check this out. This is how deep Switzerland got into pop culture. Queen Victoria shows up for a vacation and bam, luxury hotels start popping up everywhere. Mary Shelley gets inspired by Lake Geneva to write Frankenstein. Sherlock Holmes has his famous death at a Swiss waterfall. And then Thomas Cook starts selling package tours, making it all easy. The Alps were basically becoming the hottest ticket in Europe. Okay, so the idea of a playground was catching on big time. But for that idea to become a real thing for tons of people, it had to be physically built. And that, my friends, took some absolutely mind-blowing engineering. This is where Swiss innovation really shone. First, they built these incredible mountain railways that could literally climb up impossible slopes, taking people to places they could only dream of before. Then, these huge palace-like hotels were built to give all these new tourists somewhere fancy to stay. And the final piece of the puzzle? Ski lifts. They turned snowy mountainsides into the massive winter resorts we know today. And we have to give a special shout out to St. Moritz. Remember that hotel owner's bet we mentioned? Well, that one little thing pretty much invented winter tourism as we know it. The fact that it hosted the Winter Olympics, not once but twice, just cemented Switzerland's rep as the winter sports capital of the world. So let's fast forward to today. That playground idea from the Victorian era is bigger and more alive than ever, though. It definitely looks a little different these days. While climbing and skiing are still huge, of course, the modern playground has gotten let's just say a massive upgrade. It's got a dizzying menu of activities for just about any kind of adventurer. I mean, just look at this list. The Victorians would not believe it. You can paraglide over stunning valleys, go rafting down a roaring river, swing through a canyon, skydive with the Alps as your backdrop. The playground is now a year-round destination for adrenaline junkies and families alike. But all this evolution from this quiet wilderness to a global adventure park,
It definitely brings up some big questions about what the playground has turned into and, where it's all going.
The change is pretty dramatic when you put it side by side. What started as this exclusive club for rich guys looking for raw nature is now this global hotspot for millions, all supported by incredible infrastructure and a huge menu of organized fun. Yeah, some people have even started calling this the Disneyfication of the Alps. As resorts deal with new challenges, like a changing climate, they're adding more and more attractions to compete, things like roller coasters and zip lines. It's really changing the feel of the whole experience, from one of natural discovery to something a bit more like a theme park. And that kind of leaves us with this final big question. As the very definition of play keeps changing in the Alps, what's the next chapter going to look like? Maybe the next great adventure is about finding that perfect balance between making it accessible for everyone while still preserving that wild spirit that drew people there in the first place. So there you have it, the story of how one mountaineer's book gave an entire country its iconic nickname. If you had fun with this little deep dive, hitting that like and subscribe button would be awesome. I would love to hear what you think about the future of the Alps, so drop a comment below. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you on the next one.